to my channel and welcome back to another episode of Tales of Motherhood with Ngozi. How have you all been? I hope you've been well. Before we start our story for today, before we start, our gist for today, I'd like to say thank you so much to my returning subscribers. Thank you for always coming back to watch my videos. I really do appreciate you. And for my new subscribers, thank you guys so much for coming to my channel. Thank you for subscribing. I really do appreciate your presence here. All right, guys, so you can already tell the title of the story today. I know you may be wondering, a mom at 8, like, chill, okay? Chill. Before you jump into conclusions, let's listen to the story, okay? Hey, welcome back. Where do I begin telling the story? Okay, so my parents, their first 4 children were all girls, and my mom was a teacher, and my father was working with Leventis Motors at the time, so they both had jobs to do. After she had the 4 girls, she got pregnant again, and then she had a boy. So after she put to bed, my grandma came from the village for Omugo. So, and in those days, I think maternity leave was 3 months. Yeah, I think maternity leave was 3 months. So at the end of my mom's maternity leave, she had to go back to work. And during that period as well, my grandma had to go back to her business in the village. And my mom had no help. She didn't have a nanny, she didn't have a house help, she didn't have help. It was just us and my grandma, right? And so after my grandma left, my mom was ready to go back to school. She had no idea what to do with the baby. And of course, the baby was much too young for her to, start taking the baby to school. And the school where she was working, there was no daycare. So my mom sat down with my dad and they decided to, anyway, before I even get to this part of the story, I grew up in Benin, right? And in Benin then, the schools, the primary schools and the secondary schools were congested. So congested that if you walked in, for instance, if you walked into primary 1 would have primary 1A, primary 1B, C, D, E, F. Like there were so many, the school was congested. And apart from that, there were a lot of kids that were babysitting. And these kids needed to go to school. But because they were babysitting, they were pulled out from school just to babysit. So the Ministry of Education at that time came up with a program to split school into 2 sections. So what they did was they had morning sections and they had afternoon sections. Now the morning section would resume school by 7 and they'll close at 12. And then the afternoon school will resume school by 12:30 and they will close by 5, right? All right, so back to the story. So my mom and my dad, they sat down, they had a talk, and they decided that they were going to pull out a child from morning school, register her in afternoon school so that she can babysit. And like I said, there were 4 of us and we were all girls. Now at that time, my elder sister was 9 years plus, I was 8 years old, and my immediate younger sister was 5, and her immediate younger was 4 years old. So my immediate younger sister and the last girl, obviously they were still kids. They could barely take care of themselves, let alone take care of the baby. So now it was between my elder sister and I. This brings me to the funny part. Now when we were growing up, my elder sister was a bit of a tomboy, right? And apart from that, she was a bookworm. Each time you see her, she was with a book. She was with a novel. She was always reading. When my mom sends her on an errand, she's with a book. When she's going somewhere, she's with a book. When she has an errand, a chore to do in the kitchen, she's with a book. She's like, Amaka, hello. Each time you see her, she's like, if she's doing something in the kitchen, you'd always hear my mom complaining. My parents were so uncomfortable leaving the baby with her. She should have been the one to stay at home with the baby. But because she was always paying attention to her book and she was a bit of a tomboy, obviously, my parents were not comfortable leaving the baby with her. Of the two of us, I paid attention more. You understand? I paid attention more. In Igbo language, you will say, Anya alugeyani. It means that child pays attention to stuff around him or her. And I was that child, right? So they decided to pull me out from morning school and they registered me in afternoon school. So every morning, my parents would go off to work, my siblings would go to school, and I'll be left at home with the baby. But before that, my mom taught me some things. But even before that, I loved babies. I think that was another reason they decided I would be the one to take care of the baby. I loved babies a lot. Like, I loved babies. I loved carrying babies. I loved taking care of babies, right? Anyway, so every day my parents would leave for work, my siblings would leave for school, and I'll be at home alone with the baby. But the good thing was the compound where we were living at the time, it had 4 flats, right? We were living upstairs, and then our neighbor to the left, she also had a baby, and she had no one to take care of the baby as well. So she brought a relative from the village, and this relative was a boy, and he was in my age, we're in the same age bracket, right? Now the other people that were living downstairs, the husband and the wife, both of them were working in a bank, and they also had a baby. So they brought another relative, a girl from the village, and she was also in my age bracket, right? So the good thing was when the parents left for work in the morning, I would be at home with my younger brother, the girl downstairs would be at home with her cousin, and the other boy would be at home with his cousin. So it was quite fun. Every day when my parents left for work and my siblings went to school, I'll be at home with the baby. My mom taught me everything. She taught me how to change the diaper. She taught me how to feed the baby. So my parents, especially my mom, was very, very comfortable leaving the baby with me. When she wants to go to school in the morning, she will be like, Ngozi, awụkwanye arụ. Ọ bụ na ọgbọ ife na-arụ ma ọ na-anyụ ansị. Awụkwanye arụ, biko. Awụkwanye arụ. Just tinye akwa na mmiri, wele eficha anya arụ, change ya. You know, go. I'll say, okay, she'll go to school. She'll go to school. Sometimes when when babies will puke and mess themselves up, sometimes they will poop and they'll just be messy like that. I'll bait him. I never told my mommy, in case you're watching, she never knew I was giving him bath. Not that I would bait him the way she baits him, with a bathtub and with the legs stretched. No, I'll just get a bowl. I'll boil some water, mix it with cold water, and then I will bait him. And guess what? I never had an episode or an incident where I dropped my younger brother. Mind you, I was 8 years old. There was never an episode where I dropped him. There was never an incident where he hit his head somewhere. Nothing. I took good care of him. And mind you, my job when my parents left for work was not only taking care of my baby brother. I would sweep the house. We had a tap in the house, and most times the water wouldn't come upstairs, so I had to go downstairs to fetch water. I was doing that, and there was never an episode or an incident where my baby brother was sleeping and he fell down, or I was carrying him and he fell down. I took absolutely good care of him. And do you know what? When my first year in school, after my first year in school, we had a holiday. I had to travel to Lagos to spend time with my uncle and his wife. His wife was so amazed at how well I knew babies, at how well I understood babies, at how well I took care of babies. Then she had 3 kids. Her first child was 7 years old, the second one was 5 years old, and her last child was about 9 months old. And immediately I got to her place, I bonded with the baby. I would carry the baby from morning till evening, and you wouldn't see me complaining. I wouldn't get tired. I would carry this baby. The baby would be so happy. You would never see that child fussing, like crying or like Never. She was so amazed. She was so amazed. Sometimes my uncle's wife will wake up and she will be like, Ngozi, you're not going to do anything this house today. Don't wash plate for me, don't sweep for me, don't do anything. You see this baby? Just carry this baby. This baby is your, in fact, just carry, this is your work. Just carry the baby. I will do everything. And she will enter the kitchen. She will cook. She will call me, she will keep me food on the table. She will call me, come and sit down. When I finish and I carry the plate out, she will be like, Ngozi, just leave the plate. Just go and carry Kosi. Just go and stay with Kosi. I don't know how you do it. Just go and stay. She was so comfortable. She was so at peace with leaving the child with me. You know, that experience, I'm really very thankful to my mom for giving me that opportunity, because I learned a lot. I was 8 years old, and mind you, I took care of my brother for 3 good years. When I started taking care of him, I was in primary 4, right? I took care of him primary 4, primary 5, primary 6 for 3 good years. And then after my primary 6, I had to go do my JSS1. So as at that time, he was 3 years old, and my mom started taking him to school with her. That experience taught me a lot. I'm so grateful to my mom for that opportunity. Do you know that when I started having children, when I had my first child, there was never an incident where I panicked. Like, I did not struggle. I did not struggle with anything. Like when you see new parents today, when you see them struggling with the baby, maybe the baby is forcing. You know, when you have a baby, they cannot communicate their feelings yet. Sometimes they're having stomach cramps, sometimes they're having a fever, sometimes they have pain one way or another, sometimes they're in discomfort and they cannot communicate what they are feeling. And so their only outlet is to start forcing and to start just crying and being unhappy. I never had an episode where I was confused. When I had my first child, my husband looked at me one day and he was like, yeah, they surely moved my woman before. As in, are you sure you've not had a baby before? He was so surprised at how calm I was at taking care of the baby. I knew what to do at every point in time. I knew what to do. I never struggled. When I started having babies, I never struggled because of that experience. Why am I telling this story today? I'm telling this story because times have changed and our parenting method has changed as well. Now, my question is, if you are a young parent and you have a baby and then you have an older child, and I'm going to place that child in the age bracket I was, maybe 8, 9, 10 years old. If you had the opportunity to enroll your older child, whether a boy or a girl, it doesn't matter, it depends on how you raise them. If you have that opportunity to enroll your older child in school, in an afternoon school, so that he or she could take care of the younger sibling, would you do that? Would you do what my mother did? I'd like to know. Please leave your answer in the comment section. I think it's a very good idea when we have babies and we have older siblings. It's a very good idea for us to try and include them in taking care of the baby. Give them responsibilities. Tell them, hey, you babysit the baby, take care of that baby. He peed, change his diaper, teach them how to do it. And you will not regret it. I promise you, you will not regret it. That experience, I'm so grateful to my mom for giving me that opportunity. It really helped me a lot. I hope you enjoyed the story. I hope you found value in it. I hope you were able to, take out a thing or two. Please let me know in the comment section, what are your thoughts towards my experience? What are your thoughts? What do you think? I'd like to know. We're all here to learn, okay? So thank you so much. Please like this video, share. This is a baby channel and please help me to grow it, okay? So please like, share, subscribe if this is your first time of coming to my channel. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what are your thoughts. If you had that opportunity, if you were given that opportunity and you're a mother with a baby, would you do what my mother did? Would you take that chance? She too. Would you take that chance on your older child? Let me know in the comment section. I'll see you guys soon in my next vlog. Bye.